We're live?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. We've been here for 135 years. That clock never stops ticking.
Wow, yeah, and I like the way you broke that down.
Philosopher after Hari sir.
This is fun.
And I have to give the iCover team a lot of credit.
I know you want to explain what fraternal is because most people don't.
By women, for women, and completely run by women. Guess what? You're probably prepared for it. You just don't know it. I mean, how many hours do we have?
We're live?
We're live, yes.
Oh,
Um, I don't even want to say the episode number in case it like shifts around, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But we have our first, at the time of this recording, we do have our first guest that's not iCover, or that is, that's honorary iCover, but that's not inherently iCover. So Mr. Brian Young.
How's it going, guys?
Going good. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for your time, even with the technical difficulties on my end. I'm glad that we allotted for that too with the time slot. So thank you for giving us that nice time slot to work with. But thank you so much for giving us your time again. And thank you for it being as prompt as you saw the email and you were like, all right, let's get it going. So I appreciate that. That was exciting for us. So we're very happy for you to be here.
Thank you very much. And timeliness is what it's all about here. The industry's evolving. We're on the front end of everything, so it's really cool to be responsive and be able to have conversations that keep us at the forefront and really help us just continue to connect with you all, connect with the industry, and ultimately connect with everyone out in community. So this is a great opportunity, and I appreciate you guys putting this together.
Yeah, awesome. Nishant, I know you usually have questions prepared, but you'll kind of go through the questions that you have prepared and then you'll start freestyling it later on. But I think you said today you there's a lot of questions that you didn't feel like you had to prepare because there's just so much to talk about with them, right? So I just tell us a little bit about yourself, your childhood, and I guess how you ended up in the industry that we're in now.
Yeah, I'm glad we have time. Right, it's been a crazy journey. Life can really evolve in ways that you can't imagine unless you're willing to just step back and let things kind of free flow and work out the way they're supposed to. My name is Brian Young. I'm president and CEO of Loyal Christian Benefit Association, also known as LCBA. We're a small fraternal nonprofit insurance carrier based right here in Erie, Pennsylvania. We've been here for 135 years. And I can honestly tell you that, 25 years ago when I started developing my professional career, I never saw myself here, right? I grew up in a small town southeast of here, about 20 miles southeast. My family's been in the area for a couple hundred years. We've got a lot of history. It's a rural farming community. And really, Erie is a or was, when I was growing up, a really manufacturing-based community. Post World War II, a lot of large companies were based here in Erie. Really, the backbone of this whole community was built in manufacturing. And so when you're growing up and you do well in school and you've got some potential talents, you really see how you can apply those in the manufacturing industry. And I started my career as a tool and die maker in the plastics industry. It was a really big piece of what we were doing here in Erie in the 1990s. And that's just where I saw myself, right? You've got skills, you've got really great demand in the region. That was really, just kind of the foundation of, working in larger organizations and being part of bigger teams. And I started doing that really as an intern my junior year of high school. Starting in the beginning of my junior year of high school, I was half days at school and half days in an internship. Really starting to round out what the career is going to look like in manufacturing. So and that kind of was where I started, right? And this little cool piece kind of comes into play when I'm a senior in high school. I met a girl, right? My wife, Suzanne, we met my senior year, middle of my senior year of high school. And she was kind of the diametric opposite of me, right? Like I was looking at career path, like what's next, where am I going, what's the available opportunity, and how can I kind of climb this ladder, right? She was the exact opposite. She was born wanting to be an educator and wanting to work with children, and this whole like heart of service, right? And I didn't understand that. I didn't grow up with, any younger brothers and sisters. I didn't grow up with, cousins or neighbors. I'm in this rural community. There's not a lot of kids around, right? So all I saw was like, what do I do to build a career and to provide for a future family? And that was these two completely different mindsets. So falling in love with her, I was like, man, this is like the opposites attract thing, right? Like she's got this whole different worldview of how you interact with the people around you and what that looks like for a career. And I'll be honest, I didn't really do anything with that for quite some time. I just continued on my path, right? In the organization I was with were, plastic injection molder, protective caps, plugs, and closures, automotive market, tons of opportunity. I went from being a tool maker to working in some project management, then stepped into be the quality manager for this. At the time, at the beginning of this professional development, we were about $120 million a year company. Did quality management for a season, then went into some production and manufacturing management, inventory management, manufactured product supply, learning all the manufacturing principles, right? ISO 9001, TS 16949 automotive compliance, Kanban and Kaizen initiatives, Six Sigma, walking through inventory modeling and how to make these organizations flow and ultimately how to make them grow, right? And collectively with a group of very, very talented folks, worked through that professional development and really doubled the size of that organization in a very short period of time, just by really pursuing some of these really great manufacturing baselines and initiatives that were being developed and really flowing out of the automotive industry. And then like things started getting crazy because life started to happen. We had our first child. I started working through really, seeking out my faith, kind of taking a walk through some different churches and trying to understand like how I fit in, how I can be a part of community, kind of exploring, right? And most of that inspired by every day I went home from my corporate job and I saw my wife who was dedicating herself to children in a public school system, really caring about other people and how they're operating within their communities and what their needs are. And it clicked at some point, right? And I was like, this is what I want to pursue. But at the same time, I want to continue to have the challenges and the personal development that I'm getting in this corporate environment. So that took a while to figure out, over the next, 10 years at that point. I started serving more, right? I started serving in our ministry. We became part of this really exciting plant church that started up in a local, small town agricultural community, serving people that I thought were well served with churches that already existed, right? But attendance numbers were huge and people were seeking more, and they were seeking more out of what their role is in life. So through that, I started seeking out what my role is in life. And I just lots of things from there, spread out. I started serving on a local board for the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, kind of talking about food security and local food supplies and what we're doing to help serve in community from that perspective. Got really involved in lobbying and local and state government, understanding how those relationships, play out to the folks that those individuals serve. And ultimately, even now, serve as a director with our local board of school directors. So just really seeking that service out, but then kind of pausing on a professional level and saying, like, where does this place me, right? Like, what can I do? How do I transition? And just through some really interesting what I say could only be, God working through everyone's lives and placing people where they need to be. I started to have some conversations with some board members and management here at LCBA, not really knowing that they were looking for a transition, and them not really knowing what they needed moving forward, but really them identifying that what I had done in my professional career to that point was to grow things, to grow businesses, to grow people, to grow ministry. And I never really thought about it that way. I have a friend I work with that's a pastor with our church, and his son asked one day, because he was really confused. He's like, "Brian does a lot of stuff, Dad. So like, what does Brian do?" And very wisely, his father just replied with, "He grows things." Right? Like, we grow people, we grow crops, we grow our children, we grow our communities, we grow our ministries. Like that is where I kind of settled into. And LCBA, 135-year organization based here in Erie, Pennsylvania, going through what many fraternal benefit societies go through. And we can talk about what a fraternal benefit society is here as we develop the conversation. But there's seasons, right? There's seasons of how we engage society at our advent. This is back in the horse and buggy days. This is in the get on a train to go between, major locations where population centers are. And it was word of mouth, and it was very ministry based, because we were operating within Catholic dioceses, and those are very tight communities. So communication was, I hate to say this, but 120 years ago, it was easier for an organization such as ours to grow and to thrive because we had that direct hand-to-hand, mouth-to-mouth, in-person communication with our future policyholders and members. Today, growing an organization like this means, how do we communicate with people? How do we compete for their attention? How do we meet them where they're at? And also, how do we create a product suite that serves today's people? Insurance products age quickly. And some of the statistics out there will show you that products are repriced and reiterated and reinvented and reintroduced in very, very short life cycles in today's marketplace. And the board of directors here at LCBA identified that the organization needed to grow. So they say, here's an individual who's ready to help us grow and has an idea about how we engage the developing marketplace. And that developing marketplace comes from all those things, right? It's our ties to our religious institutions, since we are a Christian organization. Like that's a very intrinsic part of our core base. How we communicate with each other, how we have access to information, and really where we can fit in. And it's an arduous task. Don't get me wrong. This is not easy by any stretch. This is the greatest challenge that I've ever been presented and accepted, and really have a desire to follow through all the way till I become irrelevant or incapable of continuing this journey, because I feel like this placement is something that is bigger than me. It's bigger than us in this conversation. It's bigger than just my current community of policy holding members. And it's bigger than all of us. So I'm just happy to be here for the ride.
Much more multifaceted than I already thought you was. Man, that's crazy. But I like that the most powerful thing you've said like thus far, and I'm sure that there's more to come, but like that you grow things, right? Like that for that to be just the, like, you know what I'm saying? Like
that's the baseline, man. That's
yeah.
The baseline.
Wow. What you said, how old is your first child?
My first is 15.
15. Okay, so in 2010 you had your first child.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
You mentioned fraternal, and I know you want to explain what fraternal is, because most people don't.
No,
right? We do, but most people don't. So
yeah, absolutely. And I have to give the iCover team a lot of credit in how we present this information, because your founders have really stepped into using the term community insurers, right? And that can mean some different things in context. Here in the States, we've got mutuals, right? Mutuals kind of fall in that community stance. You've got, credit unions in the banking system that people, view in this community basis, at least at their advent. And those those institutions have evolved over time to, work through the different advantages from regulatory and taxing perspectives. And they kind of ebb and flow over time. But fraternal benefit societies, it's really Eastern United States is where fraternal benefit societies started. And it's really kind of it's a disappointing start to an organization because of why they had to exist. So in the late 1800s, a lot of organizations, they were started by ethnic or religious groups because they were in a point in society, and I'll just talk about ours in particular. Ours was founded, was established as the first fraternal benefit society by women, for women, and completely run by women in the state of Pennsylvania. And they were practical Roman Catholic women who could not get a life insurance policy. And the reason they couldn't is because as a woman, they were not considered a primary breadwinner in their home. They were not the one that was out working. And you have to think of the industrialization at that point. This was the kind of the beginning meat and potatoes of the Industrial Revolution in the United States. You've got coal mines, you've got steel plants, and the guys are going to work every day in these very, high risk conditions. And they're the ones who insurance carriers at the time say, like, this is who we're insuring, right? Because if we lose them, that's your revenue stream. But the women were saying, like, we're running our home, we're raising our children, we're ensuring that meals are on the table and that our communities are thriving and that we're serving in our churches and we're reaching out and helping those around us. And that's it's a terrible thing that was happening at the time, because these women are saying, like, we're important too. Right. So we need protection. We need coverage. We need to be able to do this. So they started our organization to care for each other. And that's a great foundation. And if you look through other fraternal benefit societies, especially on the ethnic side, there was ethnic groups that they were looked down on as second-class citizens at that time. And it's hard to believe that in this 150-year span that we've come this far. And I think sometimes we forget the history of how we treated each other at different points, and even just this most recent history in the U.S. So ethnic societies were the same thing. If you were of a certain ethnicity, if you were a first generation immigrant from certain countries, like, carriers wouldn't provide you policies. So you know what? They banded together and they created their own. And a lot of those societies are thriving today and continuously thriving. And they did other things with that too. It wasn't just, trying to bring themselves up from a level that they were at, but it was really to invest in the communities that they were growing here in the States with those first generation immigrants, right? They had, programs for wellness and physical fitness, and they were really just doing this holistic management of their ethnic group. And they've stayed steeped in those traditions for all these years. And the societies that are still here, which, fraternal benefit societies, again, there's been this regression that they fall off over the years. The groups get smaller, especially with, the ethnic based groups. They're 4, 5, 6, 7 generations removed from coming here as a first gen immigrant, right? So that's where that struggle comes from. Now, for us at LCBA, we started off as a practical Roman Catholic women. 1960, we allowed practical Roman Catholic men. And then in 1969, we changed our bylaws and we're serving all people of Christian faith, which is it's a really big group, right? Like, that's the box you check when you're filling out your relationships, your ethnicity, and like, there's a lot of box checking in the United States with folks that say, I'm Christian. Now that doesn't say everything, right? That doesn't say where you're at on your faith walk, how you participate in either church or community in that respect. But, that's where we keyed in. But to kind of round it out is what that fraternal benefit society means. So here in Pennsylvania, you've got to have 3 things to be a fraternal benefit society. And these laws have existed since the early 1900s. And the boxes you have to check are you've got to provide a financial product for your members. So for us, that's life insurance primarily. Okay. There's other fraternal benefit societies that focus more on annuities. more of the wealth management style products. We're a low face value, final expense life insurance carrier. So you've got to do that. You need to have a common bond. And the common bond comes from, right, the ethnic or religious ties for which these organizations were founded. And you've got, still, large organizations, the Practical Roman Catholic Men, or, Lutheran organizations, or the ethnic societies that are still thriving to this day and really celebrating their heritage. So they've got that common bond. And to be a policyholder, you share that common bond, right? And then the third thing is you need to have, in what the state terms as lodges. We use the term branches. And these are groups of community members that are in the regions in which we serve with those financial products. And we feed back to them what, a corporate insurance carrier would call profit. We're taking the proceeds from the sale and the management of our products, and we're feeding that back into those communities through that series of branches. And they're doing good works in their communities. And that can mean anything. That could be backpack food programs, caring for the elderly, making quilts, blankets, anything they can do, and even supporting their own churches, right, with improvement projects and activities and opportunities and picnics to bring new folks in and help them be part of that positive engagement within those regions. So those are the three things you have to do to be a fraternal benefit society. But that's a lot, right? For the commercial carriers, it's pretty binary, right? It's a consumer vendor relationship. They've got a product, they're selling a product. The consumer reaps a benefit, the policyholder reaps a benefit from that product, right? And they just cycle that in, and then it's a profit line, it's a profit center. It gives them the opportunity to grow at whatever rate they can get out of that sale. And for us, it's really a more holistic existence, right? So we're here, but we're serving, and we're the big insurance carrier, right? And we have to have that mindset. So while we're small, we're an insurance carrier. That's a pretty elite group of businesses. And at the same time, we're a ministry. These women that started our organization were there to serve each other, to serve their children, to serve their families, to serve their communities. Like, we have to keep that on our shoulder and carry it forward through the generations. And if we do our jobs, we won't just have been here 135 years, but we'll be here for 135 more. And that's the ultimate challenge at the end of the day. So it's something I'm excited to bring forward for us.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for that, man. Wow. Yeah. And I like the way you broke that down. I think you gave me more insight as far as what that common thread is between, all the fraternals and stuff. So that's really cool.
Yeah, how do you that story, right? Like, it's engaging. It is, we've gone through this development as a society to try to understand each other better. And I think we've done a great job. I really do. I mean, we still have a lot of brokenness. I mean, we live in a lost and broken world. Like, there's always going to be societal interruptions. There's always going to be tension between different groups of people, whether that be, social / economic, whether it be ethnic, religious. We've got all these, we've got 100 excuses. We've got 1,000, we've got 1,000,000 excuses to be divided. But the basis of an organization such as ours is coming together. So when you can tell the story right, when you can really engage people with the history, people are going to want to be part of this. I truly believe that in their heart of hearts. And so what is my greatest challenge? Communicating that.
Yeah, certainly. Wow.
Like at iCover Direct, one of the benefits that we promote, are called membership benefits. So could you please explain more about it, and how, for example, if someone purchases a life insurance policy from LCBA, what all membership benefits will they get?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, when we talk about serving in the community, so we talk about that branch structure, what our state terms as a lodge structure. That's a part of it. But, like, what's our number one ability to serve our clients, right? It's making good on that policy, right? It's getting the benefit out there and in time of loss, where their family gets the benefit that their loved one intended for them. We're a pre-need carrier, so that's primarily what we do. 90%, dollars wise, the business we do in a year is pre-need policies, and those policies are the pre-funding vehicle for pre-planned funerals. So if you go to a funeral home and you say, I want to pre-plan, I want to pick out everything that's needed, I want to understand what the service is going to be, visiting hours, I want to make these decisions for my family. Okay. So number one, you've got an individual that stepped up and they said, I want to do something for my loved ones. I want to make sure that they're taken care of. So like that's the first gift they receive, right? As the beneficiary of this situation, is that decision-making process happen. The second thing is where we step in, is being there to ensure we make that claim, and we do that in a timely manner. And then the benefits that we provide to the policyholder while they're still with us is one segment, and the benefits we provide to the family and their passing is the other facet of that. So, just as an example, a policyholder has the ability to apply for scholarships for children and grandchildren to attend summer camps, parochial schools, college scholarships, and we fund all that with the proceeds from what we do here to ensure that while you're here, you can see the benefit of being a policyholding member with LCBA, right? Because you've got a child or grandchild that gets a scholarship from us, like grandma and grandpa or mom and dad, they feel really excited about the fact that they were part of providing this really great thing for their child or grandchild. That's a huge part, right? So, and we have a multitude of those programs. Then you get to the claim side, and we're really focused on the aftercare side. Three key programs we have on the claim side: memorial trees. These are super popular. Families, mourning is a process that really, until you go through it, and we don't want anybody to go through the mourning process, right? And the mourning process is different depending on the scenario, the situation. And some can be easier and some can be harder for certain folks. And being able to memorialize a loved one with a tree seedling that LCBA provides at the time of passing, or we do a bereavement booklet series that they can choose to really help walk them through what the steps are to kind of close that door and open a new door in life in passing. And then also for military veterans, we do benefits with flag cases. They're presented flags at their funeral. We want the family to be able to display that proudly. And to be able to display that proudly and know that the life insurance carrier that backed the funding for that funeral provided that flag case gives them something, to put on the mantle and to be able to honor that loved one. So, and we also we've got discount programs. We've got all different ways that folks can engage and stay engaged with us and understand what we're attempting to do for not just them, but how, if we have more folks that come into the fold, the more folks we can engage and get the financial side of final expense planning taken care of, they can have that benefit not just in their passing, but while they're here.
Wow. Yeah. You mentioned, sorry, you said the tree seedling, and then there was one more thing that you said that I wasn't able to catch.
The bereavement booklets.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, so it's a book series that we send to the family periodically that kind of walks them through the grieving process, right?
Oh, wow. Okay, all right.
Because and again, this is all on the individual. This is where are you at, and how do you understand, this life cycle, and how that engagement and that interaction with the family that's still here, with coping with the loss of the ones that are gone. It really does a great job of walking them through some things they can do personally, things they can think about, how they can interact and talk about loved ones and really do so in a productive manner and help them carry on with life and continue to be of value to those that are still here.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah, that's something that I and I see that kind of related to what you emailed us yesterday. Like you'll kind of show a lot of this stuff and through the social media content that y'all make, right? Like you'll touch on especially the community service opportunities that you give people, or like allow the members to be a part of and stuff like that. So really making yourself familiar to everybody, policyholders, people in the community, and allowing them to have those opportunities where it's very communal and people can just meet each other and stuff like that. It's a beautiful thing to see, and I love that y'all showcase that. And because I wouldn't have known that was a thing unless you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the cool thing is here is it's really it's a top-down engagement. I mean, we have a day of service coming up. You may have seen it go out on social channels here recently. We're going to head to it's just the pinnacle of recreation here in Erie. We have Presque Isle, which is a state park. We've got this captive bay where people can enjoy the water here on the Great Lakes. It's a beautiful location, but it needs maintenance and it needs cleaned, right? So we're putting together a group of folks to go out and serve as a day of service, and that includes our employees. It could be community members, policy holding members. It could be folks from our local branch system. And our board of directors, they fly in for our board meeting, and they're coming in a day early, and they're all out there on the beach, picking up trash, beautifying this great local resource, and serving right alongside our executive management team, our employees, our community members, and our branches. And really, that's what kind of showcases what a fraternal benefit society is all about, because we all share the common bond in this organization, and that's a heart of service, right? So I really round out our Christian faith system is love God, love people, serve. Like that's it. It's like a 3-step process. So loving each other, loving God, that's your personal journey, right? Loving people, that's what we do as a fraternal benefit society, right? And then we've got to get out there and we got to get our hands dirty and we've got to serve. So the board of directors comes in and they're part of that service program as well, because they're leading this charge. And I'm really, really proud to say that not only do we have excellent corporate governance and we run ourselves and conduct ourselves in what I would like to believe is really the highest manner possible in our industry, but we're also getting our hands dirty and doing the work together, and that's a big deal.
Wow. What's a day in the life of?
That was my next question, man.
Yeah. What does that schedule look like for you to be able to manage all these things and really just keep your head like.
Let me reframe the question. What's a day in life of a CEO of LCBA look like?
Yeah, day in life CEO of LCBA is not consistent with a day in the life of a CEO of a large insurance carrier on the commercial side, right? Like that's like number one difference. Let's talk about the size of an organization, right? We're not talking about hundreds or even thousands of employees. Right here, we hover around 26, 27 employees, depending on departmental allocations and what our initiatives are moving forward. Everyone here is very, very nimble, right? Like they're multi-talented. They understand different facets of the organization, and you've got to be able to shift and move around. And that comes all the way to me. So yes, I do have my hands in a lot, right? But what you have to try to think about is, what have I learned over the last 25 years of my professional career? When is it time to be part of, and when is it time to not be part of whatever we're doing? And for me personally, while I do need to be nimble, I my poor VP of sales, he gets a conversation from me at 8:30 every morning, right? We sit down and we talk every morning, because right now, number one in growth is selling. And in order to do that, we've got to have great communication. We've got to have great support. And then the second thing that I really try to focus on, other than those, individual touch points, is just empowering folks in our organization, starting with our executive team, to really own their process. And that's a coaching job more than that's a chief executive job, right? Sometimes it can be viewed as like we just hire people with the right talents, we put them in place, and then we let them run. That's what that cultivation looks like. But it's more than that. It's letting them know that, number one, they have support. They need to know they have support from you, and ultimately it's my job to ensure that they have support, or whatever level of support that our board of directors determines they're going to give is properly communicated and understood by everyone in the organization. So we empower people. We ensure that they have the tools they need, maybe some of the coaching that they need to carry out their initiatives, to run their departments. Because you can't hold anybody accountable for what they do unless you empower them to make decisions, right? If I micromanage and I make your decisions all day, like, I can't hold you accountable for that result. And what you'll find, at least what I found in my professional career, and what we're really developing and working towards over the last couple of years here at LCBA, is when people know that they've got the ability to make the decisions, to move around, to communicate, to have you understand where we're coming from different perspectives and facets of the organization. They're not as much worried about the accountability as they are about how far they can take it. Like, how high can we go? How far can I excel as an individual? And that induces excitement. Because accountability is like the bad word, right? It's like, well, he's going to come down if, yeah. Ron is smiling. He's like, I know that one, right? So, but if I empower you to put yourself in a position to manipulate your own outcome, and the outcome ultimately, when it's positive for you and it's positive for LCBA as a whole, like, that's what I consider to be management. And that's my number one job. My number one job is to ensure the success, the long-standing position that we have in community, and the financial stability that we owe our policyholders, right? This is a contractual agreement. Like, we're here to serve them. And if everyone here is working to that same end and they're all successful in their pursuit, then our policyholders and our community are going to benefit as a result. So that's my day in the life. Now, if you really break it down, we could, I mean, how many hours do we have?
Right.
We can put detail in this thing.
Yeah. No, I really want to know, like, how much sleep do you get? How do you pace your meals out? Like, when?
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Work never stops. And here's the difference. And this is something I never thought, and I would hope that, even you two, everyone who listens to this thinks about, like, what a career means. And I've been at different points in my career, even in recent times before LCBA, where, like, everything gets crazy, right? Like, look at these things. Okay. This is like the worst thing that ever happened to your personal life, when you have accelerated professional development, because your email's on here, like, your texts are on here. There was a time when I would leave work on Friday and the place could have burned down and you didn't know it till you walked in Monday morning, because I'm like the last of the Gen Xers, right? I grew up without the technology and the connectivity, and, like, it was the advent, but I was young enough that you come up with it, right? And you embrace it and you work with it. Generationally speaking, we've got a whole group of professionals in all industries and all, job functions now that don't know a life without this connectivity. And they have a really hard time conceptualizing, like, how much do I give, right? You said, when do you sleep? Like, there's people that don't, because they're answering emails okay, so I might answer emails at 1:30 in the morning. But the cool thing here at LCBA, and for me specifically, is I'm all in. Like, this has become not just a career or a job title or a profession for me, right? This has become a way of life. And when you are focused on service and you are focused on caring for people other than yourself, you can do that outside of the 9 to 5 work hours and be fulfilled in it, and not distract or detract from what you're doing in your personal life. Because guess what? All good things breed more good things. If you understand a positive impact you're having, you're going to carry that out, because if I tell you what, it feels good. Mm-hmm. It feels really good. And we all know that, like, everybody's love language is different. Some people need the pat on the back. Some people get the pat on the back inside when they're fulfilled through their actions. So yeah, the sleep's low, the eating schedule can be off, but guess what? If you're doing the right thing, if you truly know, like, deep down in your heart, and this is another thing, we take from ministry. We always say, we just got to keep the thing, right? Like, we preach the gospel. That's the thing. And, like, that's the focus, right? It's not every argument that comes in between. It's not every decision process that happens in those gaps between each fulfilling moment. But it's just focusing on the pinnacle, like where are we coming to? What are we going to accomplish? And guess what? We get to do it together. That's the community of it, right? We do the community of it here as executive management group, as an employee base, as a board, as an entire organization. And we're doing that hand in hand with our policyholders in our communities. So yeah, you don't need as much sleep, right? Like you don't need as much because you're not drained. Like that can, we use the analogy like pouring your cup out, right? You pour your cup out and you serve and you need your cup refilled. Well, if through serving you are fulfilled, that will fill your cup.
Wow.
I guarantee that.
I love that. Nishant,
we got another philosopher after Hari, sir.
you guys have one of those on the team.
Right. No, that's Nishant and I, like, we'll a lot of the things, just due to the time difference, it's a lot of late nights for him or late nights for me or early mornings for me, or so it's what you just gave us right there was the battery that we needed, man. I feel like that was like, because we do, like, we genuinely, I think one of our coworkers was like, it was like 11:30 at night or something like that, or close to midnight, and he was like, one of our coworkers was like, you know what, like, he was with him and I on a video call, and he's like, you know what, like, this is fun. Like, he was like, like, this didn't feel like work. Thank you so much.
It was 2 days back, right, Ron?
Yeah. He was like, this is fun. Like, I didn't really like feel like work so much. Like, I'm like, oh god.
And really, like, when I talk to my children, when I talk to young people that are kind of working through their professions, working through their careers, and depending where you're at and what industries you're engaged in, I mean, the first thing to remember is you absolutely never know where life is going to take you. Like, that is the first thing. And I will tell you that one from 100% experience. Never ever thought that this was where it was going, right? But knowing it's gone there for a reason, like, double thumbs up. Great stuff. The second thing is, like, you have to do something, whatever fits your skill set, your talent pool, like your mindset that fulfills you and is exciting to you. The monotony of what we do professionally, or however we, quote unquote, get a paycheck and, buy groceries and have the house and the transportation and whatever we need in our life. If that becomes something that's not fulfilling, like, you become a seeker. And you're going to seek out something new. And to be a seeker, you've got to be paying attention to what's happening around you. Like, where are those opportunities at? Who are the allies that you've created over time? Our number one access to the next step in life is another human being. It's not our next educational step. It's not the next degree. It's engaging another human being, another individual, connecting with an organization and understanding, like, what value can I bring and what value can that bring to my life? And those relationships are absolutely key. And that's why I love getting to know you guys, getting to know everyone. Like, maybe if I do my job, even if just one time, I can be a conduit for something more positive to occur for an individual, for a family, for an organization, that's going to reap, grander impact, then I've done my job. And if we all think about it that way, right? Like, every one of those interactions, you're going to have tens of thousands of other interactions in between that might not yield that same result. But if we really stop and think about that personal connection can be the stepping stone for another human being. And maybe you're going to be stuck and they're going to move on. But guess what? You can be proud in that. You can understand that you were part of that positive influence. So if we do that every day through everything we do, that's the right thing, right? That's, again, back to the community aspect. This is service, and we serve each other every day. We just may not look at it that way.
I have a philosophical question, and I think it'll be the perfect one to answer. So I'm 23, and as I'm growing, like, every single day, you think, oh, I've got 50 years to live, maybe 49, maybe 48, and I just keep on questioning myself, like, what's my purpose of life? right? So for someone who is in their 20s or 30s or whatever, what like how would you what would you recommend and how to find our own purpose of life?
This is a great one. So the first thing I will say is that clock never stops ticking.
Yep.
I won't tell you how old I am, but I'm older than you. Yeah, I told you my professional career, and I said 25 years, and I said, junior in high school in the 90s, and you can piece it together. There's going to be somebody that's going to vet this out. It wouldn't take more than a Google search, I'm sure, but the clock never stops ticking. But the coolest thing that I've realized, and a wise person in my life told me this once. He said, if you want to know if God has a sense of humor, make plans, right? Because your plans will not happen. Like he's getting the first laugh, right? Because it's never going to work out. Trying to manipulate the outcomes, trying to formulate a plan, right? But this is what we're taught to do. Like this is like our education system's kind of based on this. Like, well, when you get done with this tier, then you've got to get a bachelor's and you got to get a master's and you get a doctorate and you can do all these things and you just keep tearing yourself and tearing yourself. So you start making plans. And then every time those plans don't work out, you're not happy. Like you think like I can manipulate this outcome. I've done the things, I've taken all the steps. What you need to begin to embrace is why they don't work out. Because I guarantee you they do not work out for a reason. Like you are being put somewhere that you are intended to be. And the best thing you can do is take your hands off the handlebars and relinquish control of that process and get up in the morning every single day and do the right thing. And if you know you're doing the right thing, you can still make the plans. And when they don't work out, and you see another avenue and another opportunity that opens up for you that isn't what you saw coming at all, the first thing you want to do is you want to dispel that. You want to say, that's not for me. That wasn't in the plan book. That's not what I prepared for. Guess what? You're probably prepared for it. You just don't know it. That's the advice I would give you moving forward. The best plan is not to plan. Because life will bring you every opportunity that you need. Life will bring you every opportunity that you are intended to be in. Your number one job is to recognize it.
Wow, man.
Man, that's a quote.
I
We
did
need a
not.
poster, bro.
That's a clip right there. That's you.
I sleep fine at night. Like I have nothing to like because I figured that out. And I'm gonna tell you that's from experience because I formally spent all of my time trying to manipulate every outcome in my life. And you can do it, but it's an illusion, right? Because you're looking at these very binary things like the yes, no's. Did it happen or didn't it? Like, but for what purpose and for what reason? Like, those are the important parts. Like, as if the purpose or the reasoning for something occurring is because you manipulated it and you tried to make it work that way. Like, is anything really good going to come from it other than your own personal satisfaction? Right? And the personal satisfaction is the toughest part because we need something to tell us we're going down the right path, right? But then that circles us right back to those relationships. Like, how do you know you're going down the right path? I tell you what, it's if you get on the phone at the end of this or you get on a Teams call and you're talking to Rana and he says, you know what you just said made a difference for me. Like, that's the stuff that you key in on. And honestly, coming into LCBA, while this was, I guess, not a traditional path when we talk about the insurance industry. The principles, the professional acumen that you grow in business, it's all really the same, right? We can look at even working through policy counts and how we operate as an organization. Like that goes back to like inventory modeling, right? Those are lot sizes, they're minimum balances, they're incremental order quantities, like they're everything that you create through all these other operational systems that fit in. But like I didn't see that coming. Our board of directors saw the need to grow and they saw someone who grows things, right? But I didn't try to manipulate this outcome at all. Like I didn't try to make myself into somebody I wasn't to fit a mold for an organization. I could have done that and it could have worked, but I would exist here under false pretense if I did, right? So instead, I was vulnerable, I was personal, I let people know who I was as a human, and really my theology on life and interaction, how I see things playing out into the future, whether they were right, wrong, indifferent, whether they followed the traditional paths that were established within the organization, or not, right? Like that didn't matter. What had to really matter was that you step back, you really make an informed decision, and you decide, like, if we want to do something, we're going to do it together. We build that relationship together, the board with me, myself with our executive team. And we put together a team of people who engage each other on a very personal level and understand that professionally developing each other in a successful way means that as an organization, we're going to move forward and we are going to be successful as a result, which yields a positive result for our policyholders.
Man, there's so many. I got like all these. I've archived questions.
Like, pause for self-reflection.
Yeah, no, this is great.
That's an aha moment for me.
Yeah, no, this is wow, man. I did not have to. I'm glad. Like, I'm not even worried about not drinking coffee this morning, man. Like, this conversation is an espresso shot for real. I think a couple espresso shots, honestly. But like, you have your hand in a lot of things, and it's really cool to see how it kind of, it's like a self, like, it just feeds itself, right? So you do a lot, but then doing a lot also feeds you. Like, it's so
absolutely. Yeah, and here's like the dichotomy of it. You see individuals on both ends of that spectrum, right? Both professionally, personally, through service opportunities, whatever those are. You've got folks that are operating at this kind of, the high intensity Brian level, right? Like you keep feeding the wheel. You've got on the other end of the spectrum folks that really, they don't step out and step up and try to serve or grow other people or be part of those relational processes. And that's totally fine. Like, you can exist like that in perpetuity, and you can go through your life and really, I mean, Nishant, let's be honest, you can just do the ladder climb. You can identify the next rung. You can figure that out, right? And then there's a lot of people in between, and I think the in between ones are the ones who struggle the most, because, and this is where we see like volunteerism burnout, right? We see it in any volunteer organization, any church organization, any community organization. Like, you get 15% of the people doing 85% of the work. That's the rule. Like, the 85-15 rule is it's been around forever. It will be around forever. And those people get burned out. And the hardest part is the relational aspects, the understanding of the deep impact that they're having doesn't come full circle for them, and doesn't allow them to be refilled in the process. And for the people around them, it's all of our fault, right? Because we're not providing the encouragement, the tools, the additional resources, and that's really what we're trying to do here at LCBA. Is we're trying to be the conduit to the resources, right? These could be financial, they could be through volunteerism. I try to do the same thing in ministry and life. I mean, with my own children, right? Like, we can provide them food and we can give them transportation and have the clothes on their back they need and the school supplies. But what conversations are we having? Like, how are we helping them deal through social issues and educational issues? And listen, you don't have to love the place you're in today. But if you know it's your job to get through that place you're in today, like, go do your job. Like, here's what the end looks like. Here's what the next step might look like. Here's how you can help set yourself up, but be receptive to any opportunity that comes in between. And then let's have a conversation about it. And we can do that with our coworkers, with our subordinates, with our boards, and with our children, and really with anyone we interact with in community. So, it all just keeps coming back to those relationships.
How we use social media as a tool, and I know you're talking about how, like, guiding. I know you guide the youth a bunch. I mean, you got kids yourself and things like that. Like, how and this question comes to mind because of the last line in your email yesterday. But how, like, what are your thoughts on, like, social media and things like that? I guess.
Yeah, this is difficult. I mean, we deal with this. I said I'm part of the board of education for our local school district. I've already talked about how wildly terrible these can be and how wonderful they can be, right?
Right.
And we talk about children having access to devices, and then once they have access to a device, it's, you know, what apps can they use, what can they interact with and be part of that we feel as, you know, the adults in the room is safe for them, right? Here's the overarching issue: is there is so much information out there, and there's so much stimulation that comes from engaging with that information, whether it be from a kid scrolling on YouTube or being part of a social media platform. You've got ability to converse, really sometimes not in very healthy and very negative ways. So that stimulus is mixed in with all these feelings that you can't necessarily process as a child, right? And then you look at it as adults. Like, how many parents do you see when you're out and they're like, the kids are going bananas and they need some attention, and you know, mom or dad's scrolling. I've done it. I do it myself. I get work emails piping in. It's dinner time. Like, am I able to set this aside? Am I able to put this aside? So there's a lot of tough stuff to navigate when it comes to the social media spectrum, right? Because it's getting bigger every single day. Like, it's all about emerging platforms. It's all about the solidified platforms that we've all grown to like know and potentially love or not love, right? So, and then as a business and as an individual, like, you start to think about the next step is, how can I create positive engagement through these different avenues? How can we engage people with our organizations, with our service opportunities? And at the end of the day, whether it's for kids and the concerns we have with access, or whether it's adults and the concerns we have for the amount of time we put into these, it's all about competing for people's attention, right? Because what's the one thing that you're giving your device when you're engaging in those platforms? You're giving it your attention, right? So now we're trying to pipe in and compete for that attention. And let's be honest, most of your attention is given to stuff that you probably shouldn't be giving your attention to. Like, it's I guess we could use the term clickbait, but it's the crazy news article. It's the superly charged political argument. It's something that has to do with, you know, maybe some music you shouldn't be listening to, or some unclean content that you shouldn't be a part of, you know, just for your own personal wellness. But those draw you in, and those dopamine hits keep just coming from your brain, and like, you get engaged in that process. And then we're over here, like, our organization, we're like, hey, look at us, we're community based, and we're all about serving people, and come be with us. And like, you're over there grabbing your dopamine hit from something else. Like, how do we break into that? And in social media, I don't think at any point in time we were ever, you know, aware of an opportunity for it to go away. Like, we've only ever been aware of the opportunity for it to continue to expand. My hope is, over time, as it expands, that one of two things happens. Either the pool gets so big that it starts to dilute, like, the negativity, right? Like, because you do this in your life. If you have a relationship with another human and they're negative all the time, don't show up and feed into it. Like, show up with positivity. Like, and if you do it enough times, you can dilute it, right? You can overcome that. And can we do that with social media? Can we bring positivity into the spectrum? And as it gets bigger, can we flood it? Can we become part of a movement of diluting the negativity? So that's a possibility. And also, like, emerging platforms, every day something's new, something's big. Like, what can we do to invest in platforms that allow people who want to diverge away from where they shouldn't be and be part of something where they should be? And I think when we base that on the ideas of personal relationships and community with positive results, like, that's the thing. I truly believe that deep down, every human being wants that. They want that positive interaction. They want to feel part of something. And I tell you what, I want to be part of that for them. But the big question is, how do we do that?
Wow.
And for someone like you who works a lot every single day, and you're human, and you must have burnouts too. How do you deal with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Burnouts for me, I think, have gone through, you know, different stages depending where I was at in my career. And what I started to really recognize is at the root of a lot of burnouts, and I'm going to say relationship again, it really comes down to like, where is it coming from, right? Sometimes if we look at our teams, it could be an underperforming individual that like you constantly have to be on top of, or you have to make up for. It could be a boss or a supervisor that is particularly difficult, that doesn't have an understanding of what you're doing every day or what your struggles are. And most of my burnout in my career, I really at the time, because I can say this now because I come with experience, right? But early in that developing career, you just think it's overwhelming, and you start to self-reflect, and you go, maybe I'm not putting enough effort in, maybe I'm not smart enough, maybe this isn't where I'm supposed to be. And a lot of people get twitchy in their careers because they just feel like they're not in the right spot. But if you really dig down deep and you start to look through a lot of those issues that come across, whether it be just being bombarded with information, your filter's wrong, right? Like, you don't have somebody curbing this off. If you're not being viewed as performing, and there's lack of information from the top down to understand what you're doing, like, now the onus is on you to communicate it. And that can be tough, because how do you communicate with the person that is your boss every day? Like, we all see authority figures in life. It's hard to do this with your children. They're like, my teacher doesn't understand. I'm like, make them understand, but they're my teacher, right? Well, how do you break in? How do you break in and have that conversation? And I truly believe, like, we can fix a lot of that burnout burden, that overwhelming burden, if we do a better job at communicating. And if we can break in and have those tough conversations, listen, it doesn't always work out. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes it means they're not where they need to be. Sometimes it means you're not where you need to be. Like, sometimes at the end of that conversation, we root out that, a relationship's not going to work, or that we don't have a skill set, or we're not going to understand. And maybe we need something else in our professional development to get us there. But at the same time, I've found more times it's true that when you have that conversation and you open up an avenue to a greater understanding, whether it's up the food chain or down the food chain, people start to understand where you're at, how you're thinking, how you're approaching things, and they become human with you, because now you've built that conversational relationship where you can talk about things that aren't part of your normal process. And it can be hard. I mean, somebody in my position, I report to a board of directors, right? There's 9 folks in a room that all need to understand what I'm doing, and the onus is on me to communicate that, right? Like, it's not their job to have a better understanding. It's my job to be better at communicating. So I've got to be able to meet them at their level. I've got to understand who they are, what perspective they view from, what their skill sets are, what their visibility of what I do is. And if there's gaps to fill, I need to fill them, right? And that means I get to put the extra work in. But guess what? The burnout goes down. The stress levels go down because you did what you needed to do. And then we'll root out the rest later. So yeah, there's a lot of personal effort that has to go into stabilizing that burnout level that can come with, especially, and I was going to say especially higher level positions, but that's really not true. I think across the board, we put more and more expectation on people in whatever role they have. And it's because we're all being pinched. We're being pinched because it's right back to, we're competing for people's attention. Essentially, employment is purchasing someone's time. Okay. It's a competitive environment. We've got less people to do a lot of the jobs that we really, really need done. Right. And sometimes we have more people to do the jobs that we don't really need done. So we're trying to work with folks than not meeting them at their level. So, like, there's bigger issues that go with it. But if you put the work in to communicate, if you kind of like hit the pinnacle of the stress level and the burnout level, and you fight it with extra communication, extra time, extra effort, guess what? You take that peak out, and over time, the better job you do, the peaks get lower and the valleys get higher. and you begin to stabilize that. And that's truly what it means to be part of an active working, not just organization, but community, family, a country, the world, right? Like that's what we need to look at.
Mr. Brian Young for President of the United States, man. He got the flag. He got the U.S. flag as a pin already, man. Like
yep. Loud and proud, man.
Yeah, and I love that. And we'll leave you with this because I know we're nearing the end of our allotted time, and we don't want to be totalitarians with the time today, but if I'm even using that word correctly, because I feel like I'm using that wrong, but no, I will ask you this though, real quick, just to be cheeky with it. Have you ever like considered like, I don't know, I know you mentioned politics, but have you ever considered running for like a
considered is a great word. Considered is a great word. So we've talked about this in our house too. I mean, there's service is this huge spectrum, right? And it can mean many, many different things. And I tell you what, the folks that I respect the most that serve are the ones that just quietly do it over in the corner, packing backpacks with food for kids that need it over the weekend that aren't getting fed at a school, right? Like the highest level of respect I have is for them. The fact that here in the US, we have a really great system of government that was created by people 250 years ago that tried to think of every possible way to prevent it from going sideways, right? Sometimes you get inspired and you say, I really need to be a part of this because I think I can fix it, right? Well, that's wrong because you personally are not going to fix it. I think the greatest impact that myself, my family, I mean, I can't say enough how proud I am of the human being that my wife is, that walks into a public school every day and she meets kids where they're at. She provides them with the love and attention that they need to be a productive and good, polite, kind human in their space, right? Like that positive influence. And really, if political service is viewed as an opportunity to make a better world for everyone, then the best service you could do to that end is to do what she does every day, or to do what we do as an organization every day, is to holistically create more loved, more cared for community. Would I ever do it? Listen, when I'm retired, I believe that government is something you don't do for a job. It's something you do because you have a desire to serve. So maybe talk to me in 15, 20 years, and I'll be running for the 18th congressional seat or something. But until then, I truly believe that in order to really be proud of this lapel pin, it's to do what I'm doing right now. It's to be placed where I am and to create a family of children that are going to go out and do the same thing, to empower folks like my wife to do what she does every day, and to serve the people that we serve as an organization. And I tell you what, if we all did that, none of us would have to run for political office because we would absolutely put together a world that everybody wants to live in.
Wow. Mr. Brian Young, the man that grows families, grows communities, and hopefully one day grows the country, man. I love that. That's great, man. We appreciate you for your time. Again, thank you so much for working with us, or working with me, rather, both of y'all, for with the technical difficulties that I had on my end.
It's all good.
You gave us so much rich content that we can look back on and hopefully like kind of chop up in bite-sized chunks for people to consume when they're just, you know what I'm saying, like
compete for their attention, man. And then it's the greatest thing I think iCover team and all the facets of what you're doing are really embracing right now is the opportunity to connect the industry to the people, right? Whether that be through the iCover Direct platform with some potential upcoming, not yet announced, opportunities to begin to bring some of the distribution components together through the application processes that are really like keeping up with what we're all used to, right? Like we're instant gratification society. I'm not doing paperwork, right? And you're providing those platforms. So you're part of that conduit. Like, and if I could give words of encouragement to you two, I hope that everyone on the team might listen to this and think about it. And maybe Hari will wonder if I'm like, trying to compete with him for philosopher of the year. But quite honestly, your entire team, everyone involved, I don't care what your position is with the iCover team, you're part of exactly what I see that we need to bring to our not just our clients and our potential policyholders and our applicants, but to bring to everyone across distribution, across community, with that access. And really the processes that we become accustomed to. So hats off to the entire team. I really appreciate you having me today. I didn't really see this being the direction we went. But I do hope that in being able to share that my voice can be one of a positive influence for somebody moving forward. And quite if it's for just one person, it's all worth it, guys.
Wow. Man. Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, man. We'll catch you. Hopefully, who knows? Maybe Mr. Brian Young's the first repeat guest.
Hey, reoccurring seat, right?
Yeah. Like maybe once we get a bunch of episodes down the pipeline, maybe we circle back with them. But we appreciate you for your time, man. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yo, was that our longest episode yet?
I would like to believe that.
It might be, and without even without a feeling of it, you know what I'm saying? Like it just that the time flew with that. Wow, Mr. Brian gave us so much, and like a lot of it was just real, it was real, almost. I don't want to say it almost felt like he was being it almost felt like not a lecture, but he was really putting us on game. Like he was teaching us a lot. And it really just felt like you and I were being pupils, or you know what I'm saying? Like students of just soaking as much as we could from him. You know what I'm saying? Like he really gave us a stream of conscious,
he was just sharing his experiences, man.
Yeah.
And his learnings, and trust me, I feel grateful.
Yeah,
I really do. But for someone like he's a CEO of a company, right? He's super busy. He takes out time for us, and
president and CEO. President.
Yes, absolutely. And all the social work that he does and everything, man. He never rests. I don't think he ever rests, man.
Yeah, no, honestly. But yeah, shout out to him, and shout out to the he was telling us prior to shooting it that man, he was fresh because he had just shot a bunch of content for social media. So it was cool to see. It's cool to see rather what it is that they get done there, when it comes to their social media content and stuff. And it's really neat. And I know Mr. Huddy, he sent us emails or examples to Yumi and Nivetha, of things that we could kind of take inspiration from and stuff like that. And it's really cool to see what it is that they do over there and how he understands the importance of it and how he gets it. He makes the time for it despite how busy he is and all the things that he does. So, man, busy people, man. I know that's one thing that you and me, we be staying busy, but man, we gotta climb the ranks like these guys, man. These guys are on top of the game, So
yes.
So
and we finally found a competitor of philosophy classes.
everybody a philosopher at this point, god dang it. It's beautiful to see, and like I said, very well very well spoken, very articulate. That's something that I aspire to there's a lot of, as we rewatch these, I know I say like a lot. I know I say, you know what I'm saying, a lot. I know I like heaven hall a lot, like I was saying as I'm trying to formulate my thought. I just did it again. But but
No,
say how well
but I
spoken.
think people will like that.
Yeah,
That's
because
the
it's
studio,
real.
man.
Me, yeah, it is. But I
That's how
admire.
we roll.
That's true, very true. But I admire how
Hmm.
like well spoken and articulate
Yes.
he is, because he's able to just draw out these ideas and like not mess up on it. You know, he could just he could just keep going. That was really cool. I Wow, and again, something that we keep doing is we keep ending the recording like prematurely because they have more to say. And I'm like, dang, we should have just caught this in there. But then like it would, I feel like even if we end that recording, there'll still be more to say. So it kind of
Yes.
ends somewhere. But yeah,
It's a
no,
never-ending loop.
right. Yeah. Um yeah, no, I enjoyed that episode a lot. And I believe it was our longest. So that's I can't wait for everyone to gather what they do from that.
I don't think I have anything to add more after what all you shared with us, and I'm gonna go to bed, think about it, you know,
Yeah.
and we are once we go to that editing room of ours, I'm gonna rewatch it. I'm gonna slowly rewatch it, make out points on what he said and all the philosophy. Because I'm big in philosophy, right? I love listening to philosophical conversations, like having philosophical conversations with people. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I
Really.
really hope everyone loved it, like
Yeah.
because now that we're talking, people might have like must have completed the whole podcast, right? So kudos to you for that. Do comment down below and let us know which like your perspectives about life, your perspectives about certain things that we covered in the podcast, right? Because we would love to read that. We would love to know more. We would love to know your perspectives too.
Yeah, we like if like when Nishant said, if you watch this all the way through and you're listening to what it is that we're saying right now, I mean,
Hmm.
you kind of got to comment something. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
at this point, like you kind of have to. I mean, you've already done enough work by watching this all the way through, and we appreciate it. But yes, certainly, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Please hit the like button. Please share it with people that you feel like would get benefit from it, or if you just want to share it, just to share it, please share it.
Hmm.
And certainly do leave a comment if you still choose to. We appreciate y'all truly for checking these videos out. And we know in a society that's quick and wants to just like consume the shortest form content possible. When we put out these long videos, we really do appreciate y'all checking it out from start to finish. So, all
Yeah.
right, I ain't got nothing else to say. Catch us on the next one.
Peace.